What's going on, guys? So, don't have a real good intro yet. Wasn't even planning on making a video until after my channel reboot video went live, which wasn't going to happen until I figured out the thumbnails. Still learning this YouTube thing, but I'm doing this because the YouTube internet is on fire right now regarding CoryKenshin and the stuff he brought out on YouTube regarding racism and favoritism, right? So I thought this would be a good time for us to start a little series on the YouTube community guidelines, because I just haven't seen anybody really actually dive into it like I want to. Because I'm planning on doing a series from top to bottom, I am not going to go super in depth in this particular one, but I am going to target the one community guideline that was used to age restrict CoryKenshin and Markiplier's video. So without further ado, because I don't want this to get on too long, because we got a real series coming up once I get good at YouTube, let's get started. All right, so here's the first scene. So with the first scene here, you see that I guess, I don't know, the lady's grandma is coming up, and here we go, right? So this first one here, you see that she tells her to well, after she presents a knife, right, then she tells her to go ahead and slit her wrists. All right, so that's already kind of flag number one, just a little cut. But the next scene here, you see here that there's like a list of instructions where they are going to, I guess, do drugs. And what I found interesting with that is, like, so this scene is right after the game tells him that he needs to get the blood of possessed, which he is possessed. So that's what I thought was what it was referring to, until you see the last two where it's like get the spoon and get the baggie. So then it's drugs. But then I'm like, if you think about it, I mean, sure, drugs are like, could be self-harm, but if you're going to use that logic, then like any drug, you know, cigarettes, right? Cigarettes could very well be the same thing. So like, I don't know if this scene was necessarily it. The first one might have been, but this scene probably not. And then let's go ahead and then let's look at the final scene, which this particular scene is repeated twice. All right, here we go. So if you look at this, I'm actually going to blur this one out, because this one is probably the moneymaker right here. I don't know about the lady battling depression, or maybe that's how they interpreted it when they told CoryKenshin this, and so she's just seeing all these things. Maybe, I don't know. But see, this is why like the whole YouTube thing is just so confusing. So here, like, the lady is she's hanging in the back over there, and one of the things that's like a little crazy is that like she's just there, like, hanging like the entire time. And then like it's not until, which you'll see in a second. All right, so here, all right, so yeah, so like you know, this gets as I guess as bad as you can possibly get. You almost can't even see that she's hanging, but well, until you see that part. But yeah, and then here you go, right? And then all of a sudden, this person bursts into flames while hanging. So that is probably the scene. More than likely, that's probably the scene. So here you go, right? So YouTube's community, well, terms of service and community guidelines. As I said, I'm going to be doing a series on all of this, but I want to go for what all this is all about, which is, where is it? Here we go, sensitive content. YouTube community guidelines have 5 big sections, which is these 3: misinformation, regulated goods, violent or dangerous content, spam, deceptive practices, and what we will be going over today, sensitive content. But specifically, we will be doing suicide and self-harm. Like I said, if you don't read this stuff, then you just won't never know. So it's good to come through and read these things so you guys know. They even have a thumbnail policy. But here we go. So suicide and self-harm. So I've already read most of this stuff. This all starts off with telling you guys there's plenty of resources if you ever find yourself wanting to hurt yourself or suicidal. So definitely, if you're looking at any of this stuff, take this information down. You could probably get some good use out of it, especially since they link the numbers and the websites for a lot of these countries. So moving on now, the community guidelines for posting suicide and self-harm related content. YouTube users should not be afraid to speak openly about topics of mental health, suicide, and self-harm in a supportive and non-harmful way. So I'm going to, so this here already is an issue. I'm sure a lot of you guys have been seeing a lot of your YouTubers, they won't even say the word. I'm saying the word because I'm not big and I don't care, but they won't even say the word because YouTube's algorithm will flag the video, which is crazy if you think about it, because here it's telling you you should be, these people, it's not like they're talking about suicide in a way that's going to promote people to do it or anything crazy. They're obviously talking about it to bring up the issue and how people are dealing with all these things, and they can't even say the word on YouTube's platform, even though YouTube's community guidelines say so. So this should tell you already what we have to look forward to going through with the rest of the guidelines. But let's keep going. So let's see. However, there are times when content is created that is sensitive and may pose a risk for some users. When content that contains suicide or self-harm related topics, when you create content, take into account the possible negative impact of your content on others, especially minors and users who may be sensitive to this content. So to protect and support your viewers and other users, please follow the community guidelines below when creating content. And then they let, if you don't follow these guidelines, you can get a strike, removal, or restrictions, which we know we are dealing with age restrictions here. So, okay, let's see. So community guidelines policy applies to just basically anything you post, just anything you post on YouTube. Don't post the following content. So these are the things you do not post when you're making videos that fall on that you should avoid and falling under this category of suicide and self-harm. So content that promotes and glorifies suicide or self-harm, so anything encouraging it, that's obvious. That's too easy. Instructions on how to die by suicide or engage in self-harm. Now that's interesting. So anything that's walking you through anything that promotes it or makes it seem like it's okay, and then anything that promotes it through, as we know in the Markiplier's video that we saw, the lady telling her to do what she wanted her to do could potentially be it, but I don't know. That's a little too soft in my opinion. But let's keep going. Content related to suicide or self-harm, that's minors. Everybody knows anything dealing with kids it's a whole different beast. So that's too easy. We don't even really need to talk about that one. Let's see, graphic images of self-harm. That might be it. The lady hanging, boom. That is probably what triggered it, possibly. Let's go through the rest of them and see. Visuals of bodies of suicide victims unless blurred or covered so that they are fully obscured. This is another one here because the lady hanging. So see, like I said, I'm pretty sure the lady hanging is the one that kind of triggered this. It meets two of these off the bat because we don't know if she did it herself. Well, I mean, all suicide people are victims, so this would apply. Blurred imagery in combination with details of visuals that show the method of suicide. So I guess you didn't blur. I want to say what this is saying. 1 second. I like to see myself big like that. So, okay. I wish it let me see. Oh, it does. Well, that's cool. Sorry, I need to be able to see myself. So blurred imagery in combination with details of visuals that show the method of suicide. If I had to guess, this must be if you are not blocking out the content enough where it is not obvious. If you don't block the content in a manner in which the person can't tell how they killed themselves. So I guess that, depending on the context, that can be kind of fairly broad. Do you not show a bridge if they use that? I mean, obviously showing tools, anything like that, that'd be easy, but this one you might want to be careful with because this one could be, I don't know, they can kind of get broad with that one in my opinion. But let's see here, video showing the lead up to the incident without sufficient context. So this is interesting. So this would be the difference between a bystander recording somebody getting ready to do it versus following the fire department, I guess, as they're trying to get the long ladder to reach up to somebody or something along those lines. I think is how it is. I don't think people are posting videos of suicide quite like that for something like this to kind of be an issue, because if it's a rescue attempt, it'll be pretty obvious because you're focusing more so on what the rescuers are doing and then occasionally looking at the person. So I guess I could see that. But here we go. Content showing participation in or instructions of suicide or self-harm challenges. I did not know that was a thing. Wow. Blue whale or Momo challenges are a folkloric tradition of what's called a fear test, in which teens and legend trippers conduct a ritual to summon a menacing figure or test their bravery. For example, standing in front of a mirror and reciting this a dozen times, or visiting a location where spirits are said to dwell, such as an abandoned house or train test that can lead to death. A sinister online game that can lead to death. What kind of craziness people be doing online these days? I don't know. But well, at least now we know what that is. Okay. Suicide notes or letters without sufficient context. This is what's the context supposed to be? Is the context supposed to be that it's a letter? Is the context supposed to be that it's not instructions maybe? So here we go. In some cases, we may restrict rather than remove suicide or self-harm content if it meets one or more of the following criteria. Placing an age restriction, so a warning or all this stuff. So please note this is not a complete list. So here you go. So right off the bat, that's a common tactic for companies not to put themselves in a box or anything like that. at any point in time, they can make it on the fly. If they see something that they think, or over time something is considered to be such, anything could be interpreted as suicide. Like I said, the thing with the drug paraphernalia, they could easily interpret that as, instead of the person don't want to do self-harm using drugs, they're trying to murder themselves with drugs, which is a thing. So that's just one of those playthings you just gotta keep in mind. So here we go. So content that is meant to be educational, documentary, scientific, or artistic. So I guess in this, I don't know, maybe what I'm doing would fall under this. I mean, sure, it'd be on an educational side, but I'm not doing anything that's actually promoting or instructing anybody. So if I end up getting age restricted, then I don't know, they added something on the flyer. Here's something I've always hated the most about this kind of statement here. So content that is of the public interest. Who's the public exactly? How much of the public are we talking about? At what point, who is deciding? As a matter of fact, who decides what is of the interest of the public? Is it a threshold of people? Is it YouTube themselves? Content that's of the public interest, you'll see that in a lot of their community guidelines, or when they'll outright block something. But at what point is it things considered a public interest? Because then if you got a video, if you got something that's getting a couple of million views, you could argue that that is definitely a public interest. But you've seen plenty of content that has that many views that they'll take out and just say that it's a violation of this or that, or promoting violence. This is always a cop-out sentence that I've always hated. Let's see what's next. Graphic content that is sufficiently blurred and doesn't provide details or visuals of the methods used to perform suicide or self-harm. You know what's interesting with this is that, what I find interesting with this one is that when you blur something, you can't really tell unless you do a poor job blurring it out. I mean, and unless there's an audio, how do you decipher that? Moving on, dramatization or scripted content, which includes but is not limited to animations, video game, music clips, music videos, and clips from movies and shows. Okay. Detailed discussions of suicide or self-harm methods, locations, and hotspots. Okay. Graphic descriptions of self-harm or suicide. And this is all stuff that they have on where they'll restrict instead of outright giving you a strike or something. So before I dive into that, let's just finish this up. So here we go. So then they tell you what to recommend, what they recommend you do so to protect your people. Avoid showing suicide victims and respect their families. Okay. Use wording that is positive and supportive. Focus on recovery, prevention, and stories of hope. Include information and resources for suicide and self-harm prevention and coping strategies. Do not use sensational languages and dramatic visuals. Provide context, but avoid discussing how the victim died by suicide. Do not mention the methods or locations. Okay, I'm probably gonna get age restricted. That might be whatever. I mean, that's just stupid. What? Okay, so I guess from this point forward, instead of actually saying, we'll just say a commonly used suicide method without actually saying what it specifically was, like the hanging. And I'm just gonna say it in this one just so that it's a video game, and then two, this is stupid. I mean, this is really stupid, because you wouldn't, going back to the drugs, some people might generally think that person is doing drugs and not about to actually commit suicide. So at what point having that much protection over words, having that much filtering to where you can't even have a discussion? Because think about it, if somebody was making a video where they were trying to genuinely talk about suicide, promoting self-help and all this stuff, and then telling people, what if you wanted to do a preventative awareness video where people wanted to talk about what to look out for? You can't even do that, because the moment you talk about like things to look for that people might use, if you see a noose chilling in somebody's desk, that could be one of two things, both unfortunately related to this video, but you can't talk about it because you end up getting caught with this video. And that to me, that's kind of crazy. I don't understand it. And then blur content that contains images of suicide victims. You can blur your video with the editor. Yeah, and this is again one of the best practices for you. Then they go into what happens when you violate it. Everybody knows you get 3 strikes within 90 days, your channel will get got. Your channel always gets got after 3 strikes. And then some things you might do, they might just take you out outright. It even says right here, they may terminate your channel after a single case if something particularly bad is done. So with that being said, it's not even too much into the community guideline. As far as what they list out, it's not that hard to understand. There's a bunch of cases where you generally are doing something positive, but you will run afoul of the community guidelines to the point where the video becomes ineffective at what you're trying to do for those that's trying to actually bring awareness, which I've seen plenty of YouTubers try to do, but they're hamstrung. They're legitimately hamstrung. They don't even say the word suicide no more. They just use other words like self-deletion, because as we know, YouTube uses machine learning in the back end to scour their billions of videos for stuff to flag. That's typically how these things work. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, there is even, here we go, because I had this article I came across on the Wall Street Journal, free speech and corporate responsibility can coexist online, and this is from YouTube, and I think this is from the CEO of YouTube at the time, CEO YouTube, yes. Yeah, CEO YouTube, and then look, what struck me was down here somewhere. There you go, machine learning. So managing our platform responsibility is good for business. We're also working to provide more transparency about our efforts. We recently released our view rate, which estimates how frequently viewers see content that violates our policy. The rate fell by more than 70% compared with 2017, thanks in large part to investments in machine learning that help flag potentially violative content. So this is the thing. People need to understand that a bulk of the initial blocking is machine learning. This does not also mean, because remember, there's still a percentage of people that's seeing videos that violate the community guidelines. So then what'll happen? Then they'll get reported. If your channel is disliked, if you have what they call haters, then your channel is going to be watched. Haters will watch your channel, will watch your videos, and wait for you to mess up or do something where they're like, what? I think that's a violation of community guidelines, and let me report it. And that's just the way it is. So for the cases why you can have some people's videos get flagged and others don't, because maybe the machine learning didn't pick up the video for 2 different channels, but one channel was reported by people and the other was not, as a possibility. It's an actual example that is legitimately plausible. So that's just one of those things to like really think about when it comes to stuff like that, because just think of like if you was in YouTube's shoes. As a matter of fact, we could do this live here. We can do this live here. How many videos is uploaded to YouTube? 500 hours of videos are uploaded to YouTube. Videos are uploaded to YouTube every minute worldwide. Every minute, 500 hours, 30,000 hours, 720,000 hours of video uploaded every day. I want y'all to think about something for a second, because this is the thing that I really want people to understand, especially like when you read these community guidelines. Like there's a lot of machine stuff to it first before you get to people. And the reason being is because you got to think, look at the amount of manpower. Markiplier's video is an hour long. His one video is an hour long. If you think about what a person has to do in really moderating a video, because what YouTube should be doing, what their employees, like whoever is doing the moderation should be doing, is that they should be in the video at least from the beginning up to the point that's allegedly the violation, to look for context and to be able to make a decision on whether or not it actually violates the community guidelines or not. And then the thing is, and what's worse is that there's plenty of circumstances you can think of where the context, you have to go through the entire video to get the full context. So then just think, Markiplier's one video is an hour. So that means if I had 8 people's videos I had to look at myself, that's only 8 videos I'm doing in a day. Just me by myself, 8 hours. How many people do you think YouTube needs in order to be able to properly moderate their content? And how many of those people do you think are actually doing that? People are lazy on their jobs. So there's people that's probably like actually watching beginning to end, going back to the community guidelines and be like, I wonder, actually looking at this stuff. But then you probably got those people that's just like, she's hanging, I'm not even gonna even bother look at it. Nah, he just denied. Oh, so denied. That's the nature of the beast. And it's unfortunate, but it's the reality. And so like one of the things, if you want to protect yourself when it comes to these kind of things, and I'm gonna go into it a lot more in depth when I start going through, because like I said, we're gonna go through all of these. Each one of these to really try to formulate what's the stuff to look out for in each category, so that you can, and then maybe some suggestions that we can think of on like what you can do in order to make sure that you avoid this. But the reality is that you just have to be careful. I mean, you need to be PC about it, politically correct. And like I said, like in Markiplier's video, we found three instances. The third one was repeated twice in his particular video, where you can say most definitely, hey, this one's suicide, self-harm. Now regarding like how it's applied, I mean, YouTube itself is a massive space, and so like I don't think it's crazy to think that somebody could upload a video and then it takes some time before their video actually gets caught up and flagged and stuff like that. Like I said, there's the machine learning piece of it that'll do a lot of the stuff that's automated, and then there's the community piece of it where people will actually report it, and then there's just the stuff where it just takes time. As a matter of fact, I think Jacksepticeye, forgive me, I don't mean to say his name wrong, him and his girlfriend was playing a game and her video was flagged first, and then it took his video a few weeks before his was then eventually flagged.
And I want to talk a little bit about that, not just Cory's case, but my sort of experiences with it as well, because the amount of times, and I have very good evidence of this as well, because I have a girlfriend who does the exact same job as me in the other room. And a lot of times we upload the same games. And this has happened a couple of times now where we'll both upload the same game, her video will get flagged or claimed or something like that, and mine will be totally fine. And then she's wondering why mine is clear. And I'm also like, yeah, that's so weird. Why is mine suddenly fine? Like, did they just not flag me because I'm a bigger creator? And then sometimes a couple of days will go by and then I'll get flagged for it. But it's like, why did hers get flagged instantly and mine didn't? Because she got flagged for the mortuary assistant as well, got age restricted for the same scene. And it took days before mine did.
Again, machine learning is not perfect. So if hers was flagged outright, that's, I can almost guarantee you, unless there's just haters just constantly watching her channel, that was just the machine catching it. The machine might not have caught his, depending on like words he used, or maybe like there's a few factors, the visual factors. Was he looking at the same scene at a different angle that made the machine not interpret it the same way? Like there's different things that can be at play at stuff like that. But then the biggest thing too is that maybe indeed bigger YouTube channels might have a different pot of moderators. That could potentially be a thing. Maybe after you hit a certain threshold of fame that YouTube like puts you in a special place, the machine learning won't dig you as much. And then you just got these moderators that sit there and then like just constantly watch your videos to maybe make sure that you're not doing nothing crazy. Maybe, I don't know. We don't know. Unless YouTube actually tells us how those things work in the background, it just isn't going to happen. But I did not really mean to drag this on for too long. My intent was just to actually talk about it briefly and get out. So I'm probably going to actually slim a lot of that down. But that, more or less, that's all there is to it. So to recap, we looked at the video. I pointed out the scenes that we could tell was definitely suicide related. You read the community guidelines, and then we saw there was 2 that was just straight up in the don't do category. So like as far as like the restriction going, it's not a mystery for that part. Now as far as like why YouTube won't tell them why it's being restricted, and why YouTube, as far as how YouTube takes its time in doing it for one person over the other, is complicated. I personally think it's complicated. I already gave my spill about the machine learning and stuff, so I'm not going to repeat it. I don't know what YouTube legitimately does unless they crack down on their moderators. I mean, like if they're moderate, like I said, the only thing YouTube could possibly do besides hiring more people to cover more videos would be to just crack down on their own moderators to make sure that they're not cutting corners. Because CoryKenshin's like appeal thing was obvious. That to me would be more of an employee problem than it would be a company problem. Well, which ironically, I mean, that is the company's problem. But you kind of get what I'm saying. So end the video here. Hopefully it's not too long overall. But like I said, in the next upcoming videos, we will dig in deep on each community guideline section and figure out like what to look for, what to look out for, what to try and avoid, and we'll go from there and see what happens. That's that.